What if the echoes bouncing off the walls of Chase Center are less celebration and more the whispered prelude to a storm reshaping? Dub Nation's destiny, a quiet fracture disguised as reinvention, where legacy teeters on the edge of extinction. Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Now picture this, the final embers of a once indomitable dynasty flickering faintly in the summer of 2025, when Kevin Durant, the man many hoped would rejoin the Bay to rekindle the Warriors super team, instead took a detour to Houston, turning what had felt like a routine offseason into a seismic shockwave that shattered dreams and echoed long after the offseason buzz faded. That wasn't just a trade, it was the silent punctuation on an era that had ruled basketball with authority. A symbolic door closed with a slam heard around the league. Meanwhile, the Phoenix Suns, ironically carrying the burden of golden expectations, crumbled mid-season under the weight of failed chemistry among their supposed offensive juggernauts, prompting a hard reset that sent veterans packing, dismissed coaches, and ushered in a youth movement amid the ashes of unfulfilled promise. Houston, on the other hand, seemed emboldened by bringing in Durant alongside a slew of promising pieces. A daring gamble that layered vision and aggression on a rebuilding roster eager to leapfrog years of waiting. But for Golden State, this divergence from old legends and familiar heroes became even more stark, and then the whispers shifted, and a new, audacious saga began to take shape, centered on a name that carries both reverence and raw power across every hardwood: Giannis Antetokounmpo. Imagine the seismic ripple if the Greek freak himself landed in the Bay of Champion, MVP, and physical tour de force who transcends mere statistics to uplift franchises and change entire playbooks. Rumors morphed into an intricate chess match, involving not one, but 4 franchises locked in a high-stakes, high-risk trade that could redefine the NBA landscape. For the Warriors, this isn't simply rebuilding. It's rebirth, offering a path to greatness without starting anew. Yet, the price is brutal. Key players, young prospects, even first-round picks must be relinquished to assemble this dream trio, with the Lakers and Mavericks playing crucial parts in balancing the deal, sending veteran depth and assets away to secure this transformative future. It's a gamble soaked in old-school heartbreak, where letting go of identity-defining pieces feels like splitting the soul of the franchise, yet the lure of instant elevation is impossible to ignore. And in an already electrifying mix, the plan thickens with the proposed addition of Jimmy Butler, fiery, uncompromising, a competitor who thrives when the games reach boiling point, promising to synergize with Giannis' imposing presence and Curry's cerebral brilliance to forge a triad of talent and tenacity that could intimidate any defense and inspire a fan base desperate for a revival. Think about it. This is a moment where history, emotion, and basketball intellect collide, where Golden State refuses to settle for nostalgic shadows and instead dares to rewrite its script with bold strokes that might either illuminate the final act, like a blazing comet, or crater into ruin. And yet, beneath these titanic moves, another narrative quietly pulses: the emergence of Kai Sotto, a towering Filipino center whose silent potential could become a cultural and competitive beacon bridging past glories with an uncharted, vibrant future. The stakes here transcend basketball alone. Kai would represent a seismic shift in global fandom, igniting a passionate Asian fan base, deepening the franchise's international footprint, and symbolizing a new era that celebrates diversity, perseverance, and boundless dreams. His skill set saw mid-range touch, defensive instincts, raw athletic promise may initially be raw material, but under Golden State's developmental powerhouse, nurtured by a coaching staff renowned for maximizing talent, Kai's growth could accelerate, weaving him into a roster that simultaneously chases championships and cultivates tomorrow's leaders. The emotional gravity of this transition is palpable. For Curry, who redefined an era with nothing but a ball and a vision, the clock is mercilessly ticking. And while his precision remains undiminished, the need for muscular inside presence and a defensive backbone becomes urgent, making Giannis not just a star acquisition, but a necessary pillar in preserving Golden State's competitive DNA, but will sacrificing the young core, beloved defenders, and prized draft picks undermine a sustainable future for the sake of a fleeting renaissance. The front office sits in tense meetings, not merely crunching salaries or stats, but wrestling with memories of We Believe's grit and Dynasty's invincibility, knowing every decision risks fracturing loyalties and rewriting identities. It's a high-wire act between honoring history and embracing revolution. Behind closed doors, coaches aren't just drawing plays, but orchestrating delicate chemistry experiments, harboring fears that star power without synchronicity is just noise, that managing egos, balancing minutes, and integrating vastly different playstyles demands more than talent. It demands humility, commitment, and shared sacrifice. And as whispers about this trio's potential ripple through annals of NBA rumor mills and media cycles, questions multiply. Will the Greek freaks' inside dominance harmonize with Steve Kerr's intricate movement and Curry's surgical outside stroke? Can Butler's fiery toughness meld with an already complex roster, or will it ignite internal battles? And how will Kai's rookie journey unfold amid hardened veterans? Beyond tactics, there's the narrative of identity, the Warriors becoming an emblem of globalization, representing more than basketball, but a cultural mosaic where fans from San Francisco to Manila find new symbols of pride and connection. Yet, this vision carries the heavy weight of expectation. The pressure on these new stars to deliver isn't just about wins, but about fulfilling promises to a passionate, diverse fan base hungry for both titles and meaning. Every scrimmage, every team meeting, every clutch moment will be scrutinized as rivals pore over any sign of weakness and critics sharpen their knives for unfulfilled potential. This is no ordinary off-season shuffle. It's a defining crucible, perhaps the final one, that tests whether Golden State can once again transcend fate or must-watch as their dynasty quietly fades into mere legend. They have history on their side. Remember the audacity to defy norms, to pioneer the three-point revolution, to trust the improbable. Risk runs through their veins, and maybe, just maybe, that fearless spirit glimmers faintly amidst the uncertainty. Gripping their locker room today, Kai's slow emergence as a franchise symbol beyond stats, a young scholar of the game mentored by the legends who fractured every ceiling before him, is part of this grander mosaic. He embodies hope, evolution, and the bridge between eras. A story of community and global aspiration woven seamlessly into Golden State's relentless quest for greatness. Still, with every daring proposal, the pendulum swings between hope and doubt. Will this constellation of talent coalesce into championship gold or fracture under its own weight? As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, my pulse is racing just writing this. But is this the spark that reignites our dynasty or the crack that fractures our legacy? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. If your breath caught when you heard Giannis' name flirting with the Bay, and you're still wrestling with the bitter taste of KD's Houston detour, don't hold back, let the heat spill in the comments, because this chapter's about to explode in ways we never saw coming. Here's the raw truth pulsating beneath every rumor, every front office chess move. This isn't just an off-season shakeup. It's a crossroads where Golden State either plants its flag on a new summit or tumbles into a hazy decline that even the loudest cheers can't shake. Imagine the dressing room right now, Steph, the maestro, still unleashing daggers from deep, but carrying the weight of years he refuses to count out loud. Draymond, that fiery cornerstone, probably stewing hard behind closed doors, eyeing his teammates and wondering if this team on paper is the one he can still bleed for, or if the soul of the Warriors is slipping through his fingers like sand. And while the spotlight fixates on the allure of Giannis and Jimmy Butler, there's a fracture beneath the surface. Kuminga and Moody, those electric youngsters who embody the franchise's hopeful pulse, now dangled as trade pieces. There, upside collateral damage in a high-stakes gamble that demands a brutal sacrifice of potential for instant dazzle. Is the front office courting destiny or hastening decay? Because we all remember how this story goes when legacies hang in the balance mirror, those final Warrior seasons where injuries piled up and chemistry soured. And suddenly you wonder if assembling superstar talent is enough, if even Kerr's genius playbook can navigate the complex alchemy of egos, fatigue, and pressure boiling over every single night. And let's not sleep on Kai Sotto the Towering, gentle giant whose quiet rise is like a whisper of hope amid the storm. A bridge for a franchise yearning to reach new continents and hearts, but still so untested that every minute he spends on the floor feels like a fragile note in a symphony that can either crescendo into greatness or dissolve into dissonance. From 5 straight finals to this silent storm of uncertainty, the Warriors stand at a precipice, balancing between the dizzying heights of what could be and the harsh fall of what might be lost forever. Steph's legacy, it's not just about buckets or splash records anymore. It's about how he's going to lead a team so different from the one he won rings with, how he'll adapt when the inside presence isn't Looney or Wiseman, but Giannis. A juggernaut who demands touches, dominance, and space that shifts everything we thought we understood about Golden State basketball. The chemistry experiments are no longer just about ball movement. They're about managing fractured hearts, blending the raw grit of Butler's relentlessness with the grace of Curry's precision and the Greek Freak's unstoppable force. All under Kerr's watchful eye, who faces the toughest coaching crucible of his career. How do you keep this volatile balance from snapping? The locker room buzz isn't just talk of plays. It's whispers of, what if we blew it? Paired with the hope so fiercely stubborn, it's practically a heartbeat. The hope that shedding beloved pieces and promising youth won't leave us barren but reborn. That this cocktail of star power, seasoned savvy, and raw potential can somehow equal more than the sum of its parts. And when you peer into the fans' eyes across Chase Center, in every bar, living room, and social thread, there's that same tension, a desperate hunger wanting to believe, but aching to be guarded, torn between the allure of immediate title, contention, and the haunting fear that this king-making gamble could fracture the very identity that made Dub Nation more than a fan base, a family. We've been through every glory and heartbreak since the We Believe nights. Remember that relentless underdog fire? The tireless hustle, the shockwaves of Steph's deep threes surprising the world and inspiring a generation? Now that fire's trying to ignite anew, but instead of flaring untouched, it's fighting through smoke and uncertainty that weren't there before. Here's the gut punch. If this saga crashes, the Warriors could find themselves stranded between eras too old to rebuild fast, not young enough to retool, patiently caught in a limbo that haunts franchises dragged down by what could have been. But if it clicks, if Giannis, Jimmy, and Steph create a synergy so potent that it silences doubts and rivals alike, then we might be witnessing the dawn of the final, most explosive chapter of a dynasty that refuses to die quietly. I feel it, the familiar sting of heartbreak mixed with a fierce pulse of optimism, the same pulse that stopped me cold when KD went to Houston, the one that's now racing with every rumor about this quadruple trade saga that's shaking the NBA's foundations. And Kai, the rookie eyes shimmering with dreams bigger than the court, is quietly reminding us this isn't just about rings or records. It's about identity, evolution, and carrying the torch into a future where Dub Nation is a global family, not just a local tribe. From Curry's clutch shot-making to Draymond's cerebral defense, from Kuminga's raw potential to the unknown wildcard Kai, this roster is a mosaic of risk and reward, passion and pragmatism, history and possibility. But here's the question. Burning hotter than any three-pointer, does Golden State have what it takes to weave these threads into gold one last time? Or is this the fracture that finally ends the reign? As someone who has bled blue and gold through every parade, every crushing loss, and every miraculous comeback, I can feel it deep down. Something earth-shifting is happening. The only certainty is uncertainty, And in that chaos, Dub Nation must rise, roar, and decide together. So now it's your turn. Drop your rawest, no-holds-barred takedown below. What's your gut telling you? Are we about to witness a dynasty's rebirth or its breaking point? I'm ready, receipts and all, to debate every twist and turn with the fiercest warriors family out there. Bring your fire.